What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Stardust here. IGN decided at 9 o'clock in the morning to release gameplay of Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers. Now, straight away, what's the point of this war table? You know what I mean? But anyway, I've already watched it a little bit, and I've got some of my own things to say, but obviously I've been quite poorly, so I woke up pretty late. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the video, going to literally dissect it, right? Dissect it like a frog. So let's get straight into it.
Finally, on November 30th, Spider-Man is swinging his way into Marvel's Avengers.
So like already, for me, the swinging is an interesting one. So it doesn't... So, obviously they didn't opt for just a PS1 style animation, you know what I mean? Which, I've got to give them respect for it. They really could have done that. When it comes to sky swinging, they could have just done one animation and gone home.
If you're playing on PlayStation, that is. I recently got the chance to spend 2 hours hands-on with Crystal Dynamics' latest addition to the roster.
Okay, so he's incredibly quick. So for people that were worried, maybe he's going to be like slow like he was in the animation, he doesn't seem to be, right? Which is great. And as you look at the top there, right, you can see that he's got 3 options for webs, which is sick.
And see everything the web slinger has to offer. I came away looking forward to using his abilities more, but a little worried about what it is I'll actually be doing with them.
Okay. Just picking on the reviewer a little bit, that sounds like a game problem than a Spider-Man problem.
A quick note here before we get going that all the footage you're seeing here has been provided by the developers and not captured by us.
Okay, so I'm going to respond to that really quick by saying that the gameplay probably won't be the best then. CD, I'm sorry, but you're really bad at playing your own game. Alright?
May not illustrate exactly what I'm going to be describing here. Peter Parker's introduction to Avengers is slightly different to previous DLC characters. Called a hero event instead of an operation, Spidey doesn't have any of his own story missions, but instead feels more akin to a character joining a hero shooter roster. As with every other Avenger, Spider-Man...
I'm going to be honest, so far, like, it's weird because when I look at this, I'm very excited that Spider-Man is in Marvel's Avengers. You guys know already, right? I am the world's biggest fanboy to get this dude in this game. But, like, so far, he kind of just seems like a rip-off Black Panther. You know what I mean? And that's a real concern. And I don't know if that's the gameplay being shown or what, but at the minute, he just seems like more of a buffed up Black Panther.
Comes complete with his own unique moveset and slots right into the frantic action.
Cool
with a combat
takedown.
style largely centered on quick evades, perfect dodges and quick-fire melee attacks, he plays somewhat similar to a more nimble Black Panther. While a lot of his strikes are your standard punches and kicks, every now and then a more Spidey-like contextual animation will trigger, which feels entirely in keeping with the character. As with any of the Avengers, he also has 3 heroic abilities. Web Bomb causes area of effect damage and is naturally useful for crowd control, but also...
So, Web Bomb for his Assault Heroic. Now, we all kind of expected that. I'm not too bothered by that. I think that, you know, it's kind of a generic answer. It definitely is. Like, it's a bit like, oh, okay. But, I mean, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely works.
Also inflicts the new webbed status effect onto enemies.
So web status effect is an interesting one for me because, like, we kind of expected that. And that was actually, do you know what, ironically, that was actually a part of the weird dodgy leak that come out on 4chan, like, ages ago that I managed to basically say just wasn't true at all. It's interesting. I don't imagine it's got a positive or a negative. Like, I can't see you being able to do battery effects with it. But obviously, you know, we'll have to see.
That status effect bar is full, a webbed enemy becomes incapacitated and much easier to take down.
Fair enough.
The Spider Drone is a patrolling AI companion that fires webs at any foe.
Yeah, see, that was kind of my concern, is that, like, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be honest, Web Bomb is the Black Panther equivalent of the spear. Spider Drone is essentially Kimoyo beads. You know what I mean?
that wanders into its radius. You can choose whether to instruct it to roam a specific area of the fight, or set it to follow mode, offering some welcome flexibility.
That web shooting's arse. I'm sorry. Look, I'm trying. Look again. I love this character so much. So, do I have a high standard for it? Yes. Am I comparing it to Insomniac? No. Right? Let me clear that up. That animation is really awkward. Like, this guy looks like he's dancing, you know what I mean? Like, he looks like the Danny DeVito, so started blasting meme. Like, yeah, okay.
On the battlefield. Lastly is Spider-Man's ultimate ability, the Wrecking Ball, effectively a giant ball of webs that smashes down onto the ground to damage anyone near it. It works in a similar fashion to Thor's Bifrost ability.
So, so this is obviously the Bast ultimate version, right? Except it kind of like the IGN guy said, it works as like the Bifrost. I'm okay with that. I mean, again, look, I said this on Twitter after I watched this the first time. These heroics lack so much imagination. Like, everyone was sat there thinking, oh, they could do this, they could do that, they could do this, they could do that. They went with the most basic options. They really didn't go into the hat of imagination for these. That's gutting. You know what I mean? That really is gutting. Like, these kind of webbed, like, attacks, like the Wrecking Ball and all that, should have been a part of his normal combat. I really do believe that he should have been a very Shattered Dimensions, amazing style Spider-Man, not just locked behind his heroics. I mean, again, gotta get my hands on him, gotta level him up. Still excited for it, you know. Still hyped to play Spider-Man in this game. I know it sounds like I'm being negative. I'm not. I'm genuinely dissecting this as a content creator. You know, I've got to put bias aside, and at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? And I've got to dissect it. So
Spider-Man feels great in combat, which is not entirely surprising. Hero design has never been Marvel's Avengers problem. The same, sadly, can't quite be said for how it feels to play as Spider-Man outside of a fight, though. In this preview build, I got to swing around the eastern seaboard region, which is the closest we're going to get to Peter's native Queens. A very high bar has been set by Insomniac when it comes to the fluid motion.
Okay, so I've got to slag off the reviewer a little bit. Don't bring up Insomniac with this game. That is so unfair. That is so unfair. Like, to do any of the... I mean, he might correct himself. Again, I sort of listen to this muted, just so I can get my own impressions. But, like, you know, doing that seems just kind of unfair.
Of Spidey, but even allowing some headroom, Avengers falls quite some distance short of it. Opting for the swing off of anything method, Spider-Man effectively swings from a glass ceiling in the air. In fairness to Crystal Dynamics, this...
Okay, sky swinging, brilliant. That is literally, I've said this so many times, why would you not want sky swinging? You know what I mean? That is the only option in this game that makes any sense.
This is the only real option, with the majority of Avengers locations being rural, such as deserts and snowy tundra. The developer also doesn't have the luxury of being able to design a whole city around the Spider-Man mechanics like Insomniac has.
Okay, so watching Spider-Man take the drone out, kind of getting over the animation a little bit for it, and he's also got 3 different webs, and they've only shown the first one, so I can kind of, you know, get over it. I don't know, like, how else could he do it? I guess he could extend his arms a little bit more so it looks less awkward, but it's just because he's so close to his side, he just sort of looks like he's, like, doing a little dance, a shoulder dance, I don't know.
Despite this, some of the magic is there, especially for the first swing or two after each launch into the air. But that magic often swiftly and unceremoniously evaporates as Parker smacks his face into that aforementioned glass ceiling, and also...
Honestly though, glass ceiling's just a problem with the game. I feel like sort of saying that's like a Spider-Man exclusive issue is a bit of a mad one. I think, look, I'm going to be honest, I really expected the sky swinging to be dog shit. Like, and when I say dog shit, I don't actually mean dog shit. I mean, like, very limited, very, like, one animation, very just sort of, like, there's no momentum to it. The fact that they've genuinely gone for it, and the most they can, because this really is the most they can do. Fair enough. I really do respect that. Absolutely.
Sense of momentum is lost. The lack of true swinging freedom is noticeable, and while maybe it's unfair to compare it with the Insomniac version,
it is.
It's honestly questionable whether the swinging here feels any better than Spider-Man 2 did on the PlayStation.
It shouldn't. The Spider-Man 2, again, it was a free roam. It shouldn't, mate. Like, I don't get that.
2. All illusions are broken once you attempt to swing moderately high into the air and hit that invisible barrier. Something that also affects wall running, which just stops you ascending somewhere past the 15th story like an out of...
Yeah, because that's a game thing. Like, I just kind of went from, like, I'm not trying to be horrible, but that's just a game problem. That's a game issue. I feel like if you reviewed a lot of this game, going from that to like coming to Spider-Man and then kind of complaining about general game, it just doesn't really make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, should we have limited Spider-Man more then? You know what I mean?
Service elevator. Stay low and you can build up some decent momentum, but show much ambition and you'll be met with some pretty restrictive forces. Describing Spidey's arrival as a hero event instead of an operation is basically code for don't expect any story missions. And that's exactly what you're getting. Apart from a short cutscene introducing Spider-Man to the rest of the team, the rest of what I saw of Peter's plotline about a suspicious chemical company was told through audio files, mainly emails and text messages read aloud, obtained once certain objectives were completed. These objectives are all standard Avengers fare that long-term players will be familiar with, such as perform 25 power attacks or play any 2 missions.
Okay, so we kind of got told this anyway, like through the blog and stuff like that like you'd have to do like little challenges and stuff to kind of unravel Spider-Man's story in the game. It does make sense, like, because you think about it, right? Think about it. When you get to when it's exclusive, if you did this big operation, this big sort of story driven thing, it's gonna suck the life out of every other system even more. And I feel like IGN not explaining that seems a little bit like not genuine, I guess. You know what I mean? Because like there is a method to that madness. But anyway, let's keep going.
Apart from a harm room tutorial, there's no new mission content here. The lack of content is definitely frustrating, and those expecting a new set of Spider-Man story missions to play will be left disappointed.
No, they won't, because it was explained. It was explained by the devs themselves that there's not going to be like big fat Spider-Man content. Like, you know, I'm a massive Spider-Man fan, but I'm not expecting that much. Also, guys, you let 2 of the Inhumans die. Come on. But no, like, I think that I understand it if you're coming in brand new, jumping in, but I think there's so much content to play with Spider-Man through that it's alright. You know what I mean? Because people who are playing it now know the deal, right? People who are coming in fresh have a lot to do with Spider-Man.
One thing that Spider-Man doesn't lack, however, is outfits.
That's such a good fucking suit. That's so good.
Crystal Dynamics' latest addition to their Marvel Skinematic universe comes with around 40 suits. There's every colour under the sun imaginable, as well as some fan favourites from the comics, such as the Spider Noir suit.
I'm going to be honest, them saying 40 suits tells me that Spider-Man's not going to get a big jump in the marketplace anytime soon. I feel like his rotation's going to be actually really poor. Which is a concern of mine, because I want to spend money on his outfits. These are sick.
It's clear that a great deal of care has been taken in curating and designing these outfits, so it's a shame that the same attention doesn't seem to have been paid elsewhere regarding new missions or Spidey's traversal. Spider-Man has been a long...
I disagree with this take. I think that's quite harsh. I think that, like, the combat looks great, right? I mean, again, the only thing I can say negative about what we've seen is the web, the web balls, the web attacks, you know, the range attacks look really dodgy, and I feel like I'm going to have to play that a while to get used to that. And the heroics are just a bit dead, like, they're just a bit boring. Not bad, they're just boring. You know, like, they could have definitely opted for more imagination. I think saying that the traversal lacks effort is actually not true. Like, it's really not true. Like, I think that, like, the fact that they went for the maximum they could have done is insane, and I really commend them for it. Like, they went for it, you know? It may not be the best in the end, but they absolutely went for it, and I've got to respect them for it.
Long time coming to Marvel's Avengers, and while it does remain to be seen whether the wait has been worth it, for the moment his addition feels more like a promise fulfilled through gritted teeth rather than one delivered with a smile. For more Spider-Man in Avengers, why not?
Okay, so that was kind of the, the first sort of glimpse of Spider-Man gameplay. It's not a long video, because I really dissected it. 5 minutes ended up being 15 minutes for me. Look, I would say that for anyone who watches this and is really, concerned, do yourself a favour, wait. Just wait for him to be released. Give him a go yourself, right? Would I look at this and think, let me buy the game? No. No. But what I would do is I would look online afterwards. I would check other people who are more seasoned players and play with him, right? CD got to hire fucking content creators, bro. They really do. They've got to hire people that can make this character look absolutely sick. Because there are people out there like the June, like Tricks Ridiculous. You know what I mean? Players like that can absolutely make this character look so good. So good. But that's my thoughts anyway. Again, I'm trying to be unbiased with it. Am I still excited? Yes. When I watched it on my own, was I screaming? Not particularly, because everything here was what I had in my head, right? So it wasn't like, whoa, shit, I didn't expect him to do that. Nah. It was all pretty much as I sort of had in my head. So I'm still excited to get my hands on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will see you in a bit. Peace.